Now here's the bottom line for all the information we've given you today. If you just take 4 to 6 of these accepted historical facts about Jesus' life, they're going to knock out and refute all of the naturalistic theories that have been proposed to explain away the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. The facts show that Jesus is God. And instead of running from Jesus, you should run to Him for forgiveness and eternal life. Dr. Habermas explains.
With just these 4, 5, 6, 7 facts, just a small portion of what most critics will grant, this is what I'm saying occurs. With just those facts, I have the major refutations there of the naturalistic theories, the stories that say, well, what if Jesus wasn't raised? What if what really happened was, fill in the blank. I'm saying with just these half dozen approximately facts, you can refute all those major alternative hypotheses and at the same time have the very best evidences for the resurrection contained right in this list. And really, this list is shorter than almost any list of critics, a list of facts produced by critics. I mean, I'm really asking for less facts here than almost anybody would give me. And these facts, by the way, have 2 prerequisites. It's not only that they are admitted by virtually all critical scholars, but second, they are individually attested by other data. So for the person who comes along and says, I'm not going to give you any of your 4, I'm just going to be belligerent with you, I'm not going to give you anything, then with that person you build from the ground up. You start with 0 and you tell them the evidence for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You give them the evidence for each one of these. But the conclusion is, these facts alone give the refutations of the naturalistic theories, and secondly, they provide the major evidences for the resurrection of Jesus. Let me take a case in point here. Let's pick not just some straw man and take some weakling theory. Let's take the hottest naturalistic theory in the 19th century. And the hypothesis says that Jesus died all right, but he didn't really rise from the dead. The disciples saw hallucinations. We know hallucinations are out there. That's it right here. They saw hallucinations. Looking only at this list, notice, number 1, the disciples had experiences that they believed to be appearances of the risen Jesus. Paul said these experiences occurred in groups. Hallucinations are not contagious. They don't occur in groups. Second, hallucinations are fairly rare. When you're talking about groups of people, you've got hard-headed Peter, soft-hearted Mary, soft-hearted John. My point is you've got different people, different times, different places. Paul says individual here, individual there, 500 out there. He appears at different places, and it's not likely, and I'm being very conservative there, that all these people would be just in the right frame of mind to see hallucinations. Further, they were transformed. Hallucinations don't transform. In fact, I know of a man who's done some research personally with hallucinations, and what the people said was, I changed my mind when my friend said, A, these things don't happen, and B, we didn't see them. Guess what? That would apply to the resurrection above all. Dead men don't rise. And we didn't see them unless they did. So the transformations show that they really believed what they taught. And what about the Apostle Paul? He wouldn't be in the right frame of mind to see an hallucination. I mean, the man was walking to Damascus, he says, to carry out threats against believers. Now, does that man want to see the resurrected Jesus? And then you've got James, Jesus' brother, an insider. What would you think if your son, if your brother, were getting this kind of attention around the world? And James says, I don't believe. He's a skeptic. And critics usually admit that. But is James in the right frame of mind to see hallucinations? I don't think so. These are some of the problems, just what, maybe a half dozen right there, that come from just that list of a short list of facts that we already gave. Let's try an illustration of what I'm talking about here. Let's say we're surrounded by a group of people, and over on this side of the conservatives, they give me all the facts in the New Testament. Obviously, Jesus was raised. You get to the next group, and then I'll give you most of them. Jesus was raised. You go over and further over till you get to the left, and over here are people who will say, I'll give you 10 or 12. I'm saying I'll work with those 12, or I'll work with only 4. But for the person who says, I'm going to give you 0 facts, you work up to each one of them. You give the data for each one. And the conclusion is, these facts alone refute the naturalistic theories, on the one hand, and provide the best evidences for the resurrection.